Hello, BookTube. This is shelf tour. It's the fourth bookcase. We're now on the fourth shelf of the big wall bookcase. And this is going to be primarily history, some ancient literature, that sort of thing. So to start it with, I have these big volumes. They're Horizon books, and I have multiples of these. They don't have dust jackets anymore. See, this one has like Greek writing on it. This one is the Horizon Book of Ancient Greece. And, they're from Horizon Magazine. And then William Harlan Hale is the author and editor in charge, American Heritage Publishing. Give that too much glare there, and this would have come out, let's see here if they say, 1965. So it's basically a history of ancient Greece, well illustrated as you can see. Maps. Then they'll have, so here's the Agony of Oedipus from Sophocles' Oedipus the King, translated by David Green. So they'll have these throughout, different pieces of literature. So this is their volume on ancient Greece. And following that, I have their volume on ancient Rome. Now you'll see the cover is a little different with the lettering, obviously. Again, the Horizon book. William Harlan Hale is the editor in charge, but in this one, the author is Robert Payne, with an introduction by Gilbert Hyatt, and many of you will remember who he was. I had a book of his one time called The Classical Tradition. That was wonderful. American Heritage Publishing Company. The book was distributed by Doubleday and Company, and it is, let's see here. Let's see if there's a date. There's a date. I don't see it, but it would have been the 1960s. So this one's sort of neat. It's got a big timeline with events. Starts out with the Etruscan Mystery. The Rise of Latin Letters is a little insert. So very well illustrated throughout the whole volume. Here's Juvenal's Venomous Voice, as they call it, so they have some literature in here. Here's the Imperial City, and then of course the rise of Christianity. And so that was the ancient Rome. Then we would go to the Middle Ages. There's not letters, but there's some design on that. So the Horizon Book of the Middle Ages. Editor in charge now is Norman Kotker. The author is Morris Bishop. American Heritage Publishing Company, Incorporated in New York. But now the distributor is Houghton Mifflin out of Boston. And this is 1968. Let's see here. And again, a chronology. This one showing the countries and all that. The glare is pretty rough in here today. And beautifully illustrated. So here, so maybe Maybe some letters from Petrarch. Maybe I can show you some other stuff. Chaucer's World. That's the Middle Ages. Then we move on to the Elizabethan world. Let's see. So we still have Norman Kotker as the editor in charge, but the author of this is Lacey Baldwin Smith. And it's 1967. So here's the Kingdoms of Europe. Sorry about the glare. There's something here. Christopher Marlowe, Death of Faustus. There's Elizabeth London. And for those of you doing Shake Tube, we have Sir Walter Raleigh and his young son. And moving right along, the Horizon Book of the Renaissance. So the editor in charge now is Richard M. Ketchum. The author is J.H. Plum, with biographical essays by Morris Bishop, Garrett Mattingly, Kenneth Clark, Ralph Roeder, Jay Bernowski, Iris Arago, H.R. Trevor Roper, Dennis Mack Smith, and Maria Bilanchi. And this was 1961. Here they're talking about perspective. Bernowski's article on Leonardo. Venice of the Doges. Then the last one of these I have is The Age of Napoleon. And I know there were more books in this series. I just grabbed the ones I've run into used, and these are not hard to find. Now the editor in charge is Marshall B. Davidson. The author is J. Christopher Harold. There's the title page. Decline of the Old Regime. Fate of the Royal Family. Conquest of Europe. Napoleon's Strategy. The Art of War at Sea. Then moving right along, the next thing I have is Alfred A. Knopf, a Borzoi book. This is Oswald Spengler, Decline and Fall of the West. I don't know if people talk about this book as much as they did when I was younger. This one-volume edition of The Decline of the West contains all the material and has been printed from the plates of the original two-volume edition. So this was This volume, copyright 1926. This special edition is from October 1939. So it's got the whole shooting match. Very important book at one time. I'm not so sure anybody really reads it much anymore. And then I've got the first two volumes in this History of Private Life. This first one is From Pagan Rome to Byzantium. Paul Vane is the editor. Arthur Goldhammer is a translator. And Philip Aris and Georges Duby are the general editors, it looks like. Harvard Belknap. It's just what it says. It is a History of Private Life, which is this is 1987. Let's see what we have. So Pagan Rome to Byzantium. Nice map. So you have the Roman Empire, Late Antiquity by Peter Brown. Private Life and Domestic Architecture in Roman Africa by Yvonne Tibert. Early Middle Ages in the West by Michael Rush. And Byzantium in the 10th and 11th century by Evelyn Patlagian. Has notes, bibliography, and an index. I don't have the entire series. Here's Volume 2, History of Private Life. Same editors, translators, and all that. Revelations of the Medieval World. This one's actually I've got in a softbound edition. So the sections in this one be portraits by Georges Duby, Dominique Barthélemy, and Charles de la Ronchier. The aristocratic households of feudal France, communal living, kinship, Tuscan notables on the eve of the Renaissance. Then you have Imagining the Self by Danielle Renier-Boller, exploring literature. Then you'd have The Use of Private Space by Dominique Barthélemy and Philip Contamine, Civilizing the Fortress, 11th to 13th century. Peasant Hearth to Papal Palace, the 14th and 15th century. And then Georges Duby and Philippe Bronstein do The Emergence of the Individual, Solitude, 11th to 13th century, and Towards Intimacy, the 14th to 15th century, with bibliography and index and all that. As I see them, I'll finish the set. I have one more in the next section we're going to do, but so that's the first section of the fourth shelf of the fourth Big Wall bookcase. Thank you, BookTube.